we haven't really challenged ourselves very much up to now, because we know that when you do your breath work, the limiting factor is when CO2 rises, you get a little bit panicky and you've got to take a breath. And we have to try, as I've said before, to make CO2 your friend. So you have to try, sometimes you tolerate friends, and so you need to learn to tolerate CO2. Okay. Now, I did mention on a previous seminar, not this book before, about 20 years ago, when I was talking about breath work and the Mu-Pal, I was saying, say for example with archery, take a breath in, 3, 4, 5, and then hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's a 15-second breath, which is obviously 4 breaths per minute. So, and that's hard for most people to do a 15-second breath. 5 in, hold 5, 5 out. But if you want to challenge yourself further, you then take it to 3 breaths per minute, which we're going to do now. And then 2 breaths per minute. And then 1 breath per minute. And then 0 breaths per minute. And in doing so, you will obviously feel the effects of CO2. Okay. So, assuming everybody, I'll put a pulse oximeter on just so you can tell what is happening when you do very slow breaths. This is, of course, hypoventilation. We talked about hyperventilation when we did the power breathing and the boxing, and the response that elicits in the body with the epinephrine and cortisol and so on. This is hypo, so this is very, very low respiratory. Okay, so these are simply 20-second breaths, and breathing in for 5, hold for 7, breathe out for 8. Remember, you can breathe in through your nose, you can breathe out through your nose or your mouth. Just never breathe in through your mouth. Okay? So I'm starting at 98% oxygen saturation. So, let's begin. Breathe in. not too bad. Yeah, everyone feeling okay? 98% still, have no effect on my oxygen. So, moving on to 2 breaths per minute. 30-second breath, meaning you will be breathing only twice per minute. Okay? So, take a breath in, breath out first. That 98% still, no change in oxygen saturation.
I was breathing out for 30 seconds, controlling that breath.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Control is the hardest thing, which is the object of the exercise, is breath control. So, the people who know about breathing, free divers, yogis, yogis have Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath is where you constrict the throat, so very similar to you control the rate at which the breath leaves the body, and the same you can do with the in-breath. And so that obviously extends the breath, so you're not breathing fully out straight away. So you need to learn how to control your breath. Did you all manage? Yeah? Very good. Excellent. Did you feel the CO2 starting to rise? Okay, right. On the next one you certainly will. Okay, cadence for this, let's say either breathe in for 10, hold for 20, breathe out for 30. If you can't manage that, breathe in for 10, hold for 30, breathe out for 20. It's actually easier to hold your breath than it is to breathe out. Yeah? So you decide which one you want to serve. Remember, breathing in for 10, holding for 20 or 30, and then breathing out for the remainder. Okay? So first, before you breathe in, you need to empty your lungs fully. So you need a deep breath out. Alright, so just take a few breaths to start. Breathe out, squeeze your stomach in so the diaphragm pushes right up.
I did that. I think I would struggle doing another breath after that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, did we do 3 in a row?
Yeah, first
So
two.
3 in a row is hard, but yeah,
Yeah.
it takes a bit of practice, but it's just about controlling your breath, basically. Yeah.
So after the 20-second hold, even though I started with a full 2 lungs of oxygen, it feels as though you've got nothing to blow out.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
due
absolutely.
to
Yeah,
oxygen
it's
being
not-
used and carbon dioxide
Yeah.
osmosis into it?
Yeah, the CO2 is rising and it's making you get a bit of contraction maybe.
Even though I've been trying to breathe out slowly, I count to about 20, I've got nothing left. And I feel like I'm going really, really slow.
Yeah.
Really slow.
So it's really difficult. It's obviously a skill that yogis have perfected. I've seen yogis breathe in for 1 minute, out for 1 minute. Right. That because they can control their in-breath. I can't breathe in for much more than 10 or 12 seconds.
Because your tummy, you've sort of expanded your tummy as
But
much
then
as you can.
because of the UJ breath, it's not like and you stop. They're controlling it, so it lasts 3 times as long as that by
Slow.
breathing in slow, 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 and constricting the air coming in.
How do you do that in your nose? Because I'm breathing in through my
Well,
nose.
it's just like you've got a slight constriction.
So are you breathing in one go, or
So
little bits at a time?
Yeah, just slow in.
Right.
Yeah, but you need to breathe out fully first. Right?
Yeah.
So you need.
You can really pull that tongue, you really feel it
Yeah.
all the way in and then slowly breathe in. For like 10, 12 seconds and then I feel like I'm all the way in.
10 and then control. So it's that ocean breath, and the constriction here has the sound of the ocean. So it's a good exercise, 99%. Obviously it went down slightly during the breath hold, so I think I saw 90, but hardly even hypoxemia, because we're not breath holding as such. We are breathing in fully, and then holding, and then breathing out. So it's just like normal breathing, but hypo ventilation. So that sort of blows the myth that you need to do really deep breathing repeatedly to get more oxygen into your body. Right? And we've been breathing full breaths, 3, 2, 1, and it hardly changes. But if I hold my breath, then this will plummet. Right, so if we do a 2-minute breath hold, then that will be down to 70%. And of course, you should know by now what is happening when CO2 rises. We get the Bohr effect. So you're actually then releasing more oxygen into your cells, into your brain, by doing what we've just done than when we did power breathing. That doesn't give you any more oxygen. By breathing less, you get more oxygen. And it's that counterintuitive thing, which is why people don't believe me. And I just know that by hypoventilation, under breathing, it hardly affected my oxygen saturation in my blood. But always remember there's a difference between what is in your blood and what is in your brain or your muscles. has to get out of your blood. It's fine being 99% saturated
But
with,
it's stuff that ain't wrong.
but if it's locked in to the hemoglobin because your CO2 is low, it's not going to be released. It's like a reverse Bohr effect. So if you want the Bohr effect to take place and that oxygen to come out of your blood into the tissues and into your brain, you need to raise your CO2. And you do that by breathing slow, soft, gentle, or don't breathe at all.
Could I add another sentence that way?
Could you what, sorry?
Add
Oh,
another sentence
please.
that way. Singing,
Ah, yeah.
humming and chanting.
Only I didn't have it for obvious reasons. I can't sing.
You
yeah,
don't have to sing, you can hum and chant. But
Yeah,
singing
hum.
also combines breath work.
yeah, humming nitric
Because-
oxide.
You're stimulating the vagus nerve in the neck, of course, but also with singing, because you're controlling your breath and you're extending the out breath by quite a long time to hold the long nose. That also has quite a significant
Fantastic.
effect.
Yeah, thank you for that. I wasn't aware of it, but I did mention it, just in case anyone said, you give us a demonstration.
This turns into a singing class.
Obviously, they can hold a note or breathe out for quite a long time.
Unbelievably, yes.
Train with the diaphragm.
Yeah, diaphragm training with the book and raising the book and lowering and doing all of that preparation. Yeah, Qigong, breath, work, it's work. It doesn't just happen. If you want to survive, just let it happen. You'll be fine, but you won't thrive. If you want to thrive, you have to work. That's basically the message. Okay, so anything else on that? So we have 7 vagus nerve stimulators, activators, whatever you want to call it. But those things will improve the quality of your life tremendously. Get you out of the sympathetic mode into parasympathetic, calmer state of mind. An anti-inflammatory state as well, which is probably one of the most important things. Virtually all disease begins with inflammation, whatever it is.
So just about the emetic stressors, you talk about, is it a minute or two with cold shower? What is it? So the high end, is there a minimum, for instance, for?
I've listened to professors who've researched this thoroughly, and most of what the likes of Wim Hof and people like that are doing, she says, is just too much. And you could start with 20-30 seconds, and because you've got the dive reflex, immediately the water hits your face, then you are getting a reduction in your heart rate, a reduction in your blood pressure, as though you were underwater, because your body wants to conserve oxygen. So 30 seconds I would start. And then if you can build up to a minute, great, or 2 minutes. But you don't really need to do much more than that, I don't think.
And I can attest to the fact that it sounds after about 20 or 30 seconds, the body becomes used to it and you don't feel it. Because you've got the shock and then you're like, but after about 30 seconds, it's just like water on your body. You don't notice the cold, but you've got to get to that 30 second, 20 second, 30 second point, and then you don't feel it. Honestly, I can guarantee you don't feel it. And when you come out, oh, it wasn't.
Stop me.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So you mentioned the other side of it, which would be like saunas and presumably steam rooms as well.
Yeah.
But they're never that hot. So would you have to be in there for a lot longer than you would, say, shower.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Because-
couldn't do 30 seconds in the sauna.
You can sit in the sauna for
But
about
30
15
seconds
minutes.
is enough
can't
into cold water.
you? Yeah.
So yeah, I would have said 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So 2 states, 20 minutes minimum. When you look into it,
Yeah.
20 minutes minimum.
I would say 20 minutes. Yeah. But of course, you can maximise that by training while you're in there.
Presence.
So anything, or even if you're just doing something, some movement.
Look at the
What-
sailors, or 3 or 4 of them.
Well, yeah. I go to a sauna where really nobody